Good morning, Patriots. I'm just in chat saying good morning, so I'm distracted. Hey, you all distracted me. So it's another great day in the USA. I'm Tony Schaefer. I'm your host, and I'm wearing the T-shirt of my great friend Cherie Curry, who was out and about doing things these days. I always there she is. See, really cool chick, chainsaw chick. Anyway, we were talking about her yesterday and some of the things that we could do to have her do a theme for us because our theme sucks, right? That whole kind of music that puts you to sleep. I mean, the theme music be fine if you're going to bed like at I don't know 11 o'clock, trying to polish up on the Quran, read a few chapters so you know what's going on in New York. Since I guess they're going to be using the Quran instead of the Bible to swear people in soon. Just saying. But Cherie would be a good person to do a theme for us. But without further ado, the person who introduced me to Cherie is Chris Cordani. Good morning, Chris.
Hey, good morning, good sir. There we go. Chris, waking up in the morning. Yes, most of the people in New York City are studying their Korans now, but it's more or less they're studying their little. It's not the Koran they're studying; it's actually the Little Red Book. That's my contention. They're going to be studying their Little Red Book
It's
and
both.
the Communist Manifesto.
It's both. So let's just jump into that because I think I was on, believe it or not, Newsmax talking about this morning, even though I live in the beautiful state of North Carolina where we have our own Marxists, which we'll be talking about one a little bit later this morning, just saying. But it's no doubt that at this point that, that city, that bright shining city on the hill. Well, no, it's not really bright or shining. It is shining, but that neon light is I don't know. So the folks, the Patriots know Zorhan, but Madani, what's his name? Chris, I always get it wrong.
Zoran Mamdani.
Mamdani. He
That's
beat
right.
human genital wart Cuomo for the mayoral race, right?
Exactly. Well, Cuomo came across. Remember, well, let's put it this way: a lot of people know Cuomo's the guy who first off uh, killed the grandmas and grandpas in the
It's true.
nursing homes
He
by
did.
putting
He should
COVID
be in jail
patients
for
in
that, no
nursing
doubt.
homes. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, his strict bluer than blue laws, if you will, during COVID kept people from being with their relatives, their grandparents, their loved
Yeah.
ones when they were dying. And yes,
Yeah.
lesser known is the fact that Donald Trump sent a whole ship over to New York for COVID patients, and since Cuomo and the Democrats didn't want to give Trump any wins, he refused to help.
So let me hit that real quick because I was personally involved in that. So some of you all know I belong to law enforcement. I work for Sheriff Dave Decatur in Virginia. I get into shenanigans here and there. One of the shenanigans I was trying to do, I was asked by NYPD and the Pentagon to figure out what was going on the ground. Because believe it or not, I know this is going to be shocking. NYPD was trying to help the people. I know it's like who would have thought, but the NYPD guys were trying to make sure that there was two hospitals. They turned the Javits Center, Jacob Javits Center, into a mobile hospital. U.S. Army, God bless the U.S. Army, set up all these cots and medical stuff, and then the Navy brought in the comfort. Right, so we had two big hospitals, and so I was bridging information between the Pentagon and NYPD to make sure that it was working. Chris, isn't that the idea that we're supposed to help each other during a crisis? Am I missing something?
We help each other out. As a matter of fact, that's what makes us human. The fact
Yeah.
is, what makes people monsters and overly political is refusing to help at the
Well,
expense
that's
of
my
regular
point.
people. Right.
So after this massive effort by DOD to create a hospital at the Javits Center, by the way, that's where Hillary Clinton is supposed to shatter the glass ceiling, just saying, which I don't want to get into that this morning. But we DOD set up two hospitals, and we confirmed we're going back and forth. Everything is functioning. Who decided to not use them, Chris?
Might it be Andrew Svachim Jr. Cuomo?
Maybe. That's right.
You
That's
know
right.
where I got
And,
that
and by
from,
the way,
by
the
the way.
Patriots want to know, does he have nipple rings like Fredo? I don't know. I don't know that quite. I
No.
don't know that answer. I don't know the answer.
Well, this man
I've
is.
never looked.
Now, I call this man Svachim Jr. for a reason. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure you know what it is. The Patriots, I'm not sure if all the Patriots know what it is. I mean, maybe some of you grew up in and around New York or were around in the 90s and 80s, or during the Cuomo era, if you will, when Mario Cuomo was the governor of New York. There was a great
Mario wasn't a bad guy. Mario was pretty
well,
cool. He was chill.
you weren't in New York State. He was not bad compared to Kathy Hochul, Elliot
That's
Spitzer,
true.
and Andrew
That's true.
Cuomo.
That's a good expander. I agree. I agree with
the the great I mean, it's like, hey, we ate castor oil. Well, regular oil is not as bad as castor oil. Okay, there we
you.
go.
Yeah.
But the fact is, the great Bob Grant, the talk show host, used to call Mario Cuomo the sfacim. As an Italian word for not a very good guy. So
Yeah.
he had a special thing called the Mario salute. Every once in a while he'd say it, or listeners would call up and say, "Hey Bob, can I give the Mario salute?" And it actually went, "Mario, assientame tu sei proprio sfacim." And then Bob Grant would add, "And he is." And I even have my own sfacim T-shirt with the phrase
Well,
on it.
you
And
are
it's my
Italian, so that
character
you
of
have the
Homer.
right to make Italian comments. So
That's right.
that's Italian privilege, isn't it? Plus,
Yep.
I guess as Italians, if you go to an Italian restaurant and ask for something filleted, that means with the bullets taken out, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
then if you know what a formal Italian dinner is, right, Chris?
Oh, let's
That's
see.
when that's when all the guys come to the table with their zippers up. Just
Oh,
saying.
okay. I was gonna say guns
Yeah.
guns down on the floor, zippers up. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, good,
There you
good, good.
go. There you go. Good.
But
Good. It's good to be Italian, right?
right. Well, it also got to the point where people were giving the Mario salute to Cuomo out in public.
Ooh.
So here's a salute for Andrew Cuomo, his final day in politics, because that's it. He just proved that he is done in politics by losing to this character here. And just keep in mind, this is the guy.
Chris, Chris, Chris,
This is the new Democrat candidate for mayor of New York.
Chris. Yeah. Chris,
That's from a
don't
video.
use the word
Rap video.
losing. Losing is such a harsh word. Let's come up with something more sensitive for Cuomo. I think losing basically somehow intones that he's a loser, right? Mario Cuomo is many things, and maybe he didn't do as well, but he tried. Can we give him a like you tried trophy? Like
Oh, a
he tried real
participation
hard.
trophy?
A
Yeah.
participation trophy. Yeah.
I would
So
like to have given
let's
that
not
to Zoran. Oh, well. Or
yeah, let's
Zohan.
not say he lost. Let's just
Zoran.
say his Depends undergarment wasn't pulled up as high as we'd hoped. Can we say that?
I'll say I have to find my Sfacim T-shirt. Maybe I'll wear that on the air. I'll bring it up. I'll have to show you. It's a classic. But
Yeah.
I guess Andrew is Sfacim Jr. So, but if Andrew Cuomo is Sfacim Jr., I have to think
Yeah.
about who Zoran Mandrami is, and I was thinking he would be Sadiq Khan's mini-me. If he gets elected, he will be another Sadiq Khan, and New York City will be finished.
Oh, I think it's true.
Yes.
So one of our mutual friends is John Catsimatidis. I love John. He's a good guy.
Good man.
He. For those who don't know, John, he runs WABC Radio, right? Right, Chris?
Yes, he owns
owns
ABC Radio, and I believe he owns a couple other stations now too.
Yeah, but another thing he owns is a market chain. He provides via his markets, and he's a billionaire. Full disclosure, John's a billionaire. Why he lives in New York, I don't know, but he does. Giving all that money to the city. But John said that his chain of markets, which provide a significant percent of food and goods to the city of New York, will be closed. Will be closing down. Now, why would he do that, Chris? Why would John close down his markets? Any ideas?
I'm guessing the taxes and expenses are way too high.
No. It's more direct.
Am I wrong?
No, it's more direct.
Okay, let's hear it.
Zoharni has said he's going to open city-owned markets.
That's what I wanted to get to. City-owned, basically socialized grocery shopping.
No. Soviet-style markets.
That's right.
Let's just be clear on this. There's no gray area here. So he's proposed, and I just watched this before as part of our prep this morning because I figured it would come up. He has I think, a minute and a half, 2 minute video showing how he, using Marxist principles, will be able to resolve the high prices people are facing. It's like, dude, seriously, this is literally, Karl Marx 101. And I'm surprised he hasn't like started wearing the Joseph Stalin jacket, kind of the comrade jacket with all of this comrade speak. But that's why John Catsimatidis is rightly saying, dude, I'm first off, he shouldn't have to compete with the city of New York. Secondly, because I think it's stupid. Secondly, if the city of New York, once it enters the market, has to go to the same secondary markets, the wholesale guys, as John Catsimatidis does. So you're not. And by the way, Chris, do you know what the margin is of profit for John and his markets? I know what it
Um,
is. I just
I'm
want. I
sure
want
it's
to know if you
pretty.
know.
I'm sure it's pretty good, but you
One
tell me.
percent.
Really?
1%. 1%. He makes enough money to keep the enterprise going and be able to maintain some level of maintenance and improvement to maintain the system. So,
That
do
would make
you think,
sense.
Chris, that the city of New York is going to improve and be able to do things on a 1% margin?
Let's add to that the immensely higher taxes this guy is going to propose,
Yeah.
and the idea of a rent freeze in certain areas.
We talked about that yesterday with Dinkins did that, and you're still paying for it, so to speak.
Who pays for all of this? That's the problem. Who
Yeah.
pays for
Yeah.
this? And the landlords they're going to have to squeeze money out of somewhere else. And of course, if the city and the city council, which by the way will be in lockstep, will keep raising taxes and causing more problems and allowing more illegals to flood the cities, the city
Yeah.
streets, we're going to have this city is going to implode. We can only hope. And the Republicans are pretty much at fault over the last many years too in New York City. A
Yeah.
bunch of years back, they sort of ran Bloomberg as a Republican a while back. He was never really a Republican, so we're going to put him aside.
No, he was more of a. I don't. I think. Can you say? I've not even quite. It's like a European lefty. He
Yes.
was all into building infrastructure, which is good. That's good for
Mm,
the city. You've
he
got to
just
build, but he wanted to control it like a socialist, right? I mean, that's kind of what he was.
well, his infrastructure, if I remember correctly, his infrastructure, part of that consisted of adding bike lanes,
Yeah,
taking cars off the streets of certain areas of New York
European
City,
socialist. European
making it
socialist. Yeah,
yeah, making it very expensive and very difficult to drive to keep that mid to lower Manhattan as the wealthy people's playground, if you will. Him and his millionaire
yeah.
buddies or gajillionaire buddies. Having said that, his policies were a direct cause of us having congestion pricing at this point because the congestion was caused by the constant
Oh,
movement to
absolutely.
get cars off the
But
street and
but it led to
in the
Alec
lanes.
Baldwin being able to act out and yell at the police on his bike. I thought that was worth.
There we
I
go.
think
That
that
was
whole
funny. Yes.
all that infrastructure was worth Alec Baldwin yelling at the police. So God bless Bloomberg for that. Some
That's true.
entertainment value at least. But yeah, so when you remove literally 1/3 of the lanes, right, Chris? I think I'm talking accurately. If you remove 1/3 of the available lanes for traffic, it's going to create problems in the largest, most trafficked city on the planet, right? I mean, I think they're pretty close to it. Hong Kong's up there too, but
Yeah.
New York's up there. But so
Right.
you remove 1/3 of the lanes, it's going to create congestion, right?
Oh, agreed, agreed, and that was the idea. They were trying to discourage people from driving. And
Yeah,
this is citywide too, and everybody's
yeah.
involved. Did you know I went to a Met game? I went to a Met game once
No,
recently.
I didn't know that.
It was last year. I went to see the Mets at
Yeah.
City Field. They raised the prices for parking from $25 to 40. And for what I'm finding out, the reason being is to discourage people from driving into City Field, into the parking
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. So all this is taxation without real representation. They just want your money, and that's what man, I always get his name wrong. We'll just call him Zohan, right?
Zoran,
Yeah.
no, no, because we have to mess with that Zohan, so it's gonna be Zoran Mendez. we'll keep
Yeah,
we'll keep that name. You'll at least have to know it until November, because I have a feeling, and this is my take on this. Now Eric Adams can win a plurality and sneak in and become or keep his mayoralship of New York as an
yeah. I
independent
don't.
and an
Yeah,
incumbent.
yeah. I don't. I don't have a cat in the fight or a dog in the fight. No, no cat. I have no animals in this fight. But I did see on the network this morning on Newsmax that I thought Adams should be the guy. I don't. That's not an endorsement. Just like, hey, if I were a New Yorker, I'd think about that. But I think that Adams is kind of, I think, doing what he can to bring crime down. Crime has dropped, believe it or not. He's become pro justice. I think he's moving the city in the right direction. Mostly, not every. He's still a Democrat, but I think he's seen the light. And I'd like to see. I hope he can come in as an independent and win, because man, oh man, I'm not joking about this. If you were within the sound of our voice, you will see shortages. You will see bread lines. You will see black markets pop up if Zorhan is able to implement this, basically buying, maintaining, and forcing people to frequent uh, New York City run stores. I'm just telling you, I know how these things go, right, Chris? I mean, this is
Exactly. And this man has actually promised socialist policies. Again, it's the
oh yeah,
free candy. It's the free candy that the socialists and the communists like to push
yeah,
forth. But the consequences that come with it. Look, Zohan now as the mayor will be living at Gracie Mansion. He's going to do whatever he can to get more money somehow, just for himself. He's never going to have to live with the consequences of
no, of
his
course,
right.
these people never do.
No, never. And Eric Adams, to his credit, he is a Democrat, like you said, but he has been on the front lines. He was in the NYPD. He knows the consequences of going too far to the left, and that's why he hadn't done so. And finally, he when he finally, well, he bent but didn't break. When he finally got to the breaking point with the illegals, he finally stood up and said something. The left came down hard on him. They took away his police commissioner. They came down on his fire commissioner, took that person away, and tried to take more of his his buddies away, his support away from money from within New York City's political infrastructure. But Adams stood firm against the Democrat machine as a Democrat.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So
there's
I
something to
think
be
that's
said
the
for that.
yeah. So look. This is. I mean, this has been the front page on one of the news outlets I use, the New York Post. I think they're better than not. Not perfect. They
Mr.
make
Speaker,
mistakes, but I think they're pretty good.
I
So
strongly agree.
yeah. But anyway, I just I kind of I love New York. I mean, it's great to visit. I like Manhattan. Chris knows. I know. We Dr. London, Herb London ran the London Center. We had events at the Union League Club and at the Cosmopolitan Club. No, Metropolitan Club. Sorry, Metropolitan Club. Cosmopolitan is for those Pomo guys with the nipple ring. Sorry, wrong
Yeah,
club.
right. Yeah,
So
that's down in Greenwich Village for you, Tony.
yeah, that you have to have latex. You have to have latex tuxedos to go in there. Just
Besides,
saying.
I prefer more manly drinks than cosmopolitans, like Appletinis.
Yeah,
R
exactly,
R.
exactly,
Work
exactly.
bench.
So anyway, but we used to. The point is, we used to do things in New York, and it was great. And oh, by the way, back in those days, subways were safe. I had no problem going from taking the Excella up from New York from DC, getting off at the Penn Station, hopping on the subway to go to Battery Park. It was always wonderful, but not now. Not now. It's all because you have people who want to put this Marxist dream into motion. And if Zorhan is elected, man, oh man, it's curtains for Manhattan. So
Look at again the Republican Party and the backers, the donors of the Republican Party, did
yeah,
not let's just say did not help Nicole Meliotakis years
the
ago.
subway does
Did not
smell
help.
like cat pee now. Yeah, it
Right.
does.
They
Yes,
barely
Tracy,
helped.
that's
They
true.
barely helped Curtis Sliwa, and they probably aren't going to help him that much again this year. So that's an
Yeah.
issue. So again, so they actually rolled over and gave up from nominating Ray Loda, or not Ray
Yeah.
Loda, sorry, John Loda a long time ago, whatever his name is. That's how forgettable he was. I think he was like the deputy mayor at one point, MTA guy.
Yeah.
From that party went downhill to irrelevant in New York City at this point for the most part. And now they're suffering the consequences of that. Speaking of the Democrats are going nuts also on the national front. I mean,
let's talk about the Democrats. This is going to be a Democrat rich day.
Yes. So let's go to our favorite singer in Congress, Al Green.
Al,
who apparently hasn't
had loves you, baby.
Right. He didn't have enough attention.
Oh, yeah.
Since his cane incident at the State of the Union. So he decided, get this, Tony.
The cane mutiny didn't work.
That's right. Want to hear it?
Yeah.
Hey, come on.
Mr. Speaker, and still I rise.
And still.
And I rise today in the name
of... you're not a poet. You're not Maya Angelou, so cut it out.
Of government of the people, by the people, for the people.
If the glove does not fit, you cannot convict.
I rise today because our country is nearing a moment of decision. I rise because we are at the intersection of democracy and autocracy.
He learned some new words. Nice job.
I don't know. I don't think he's using it in the right sense. Like, that Princess Bride thing. I don't think you understand the meaning of the word you're using, but keep going.
That at this moment in time, I have filed HRES 537. HRES 537 is a privileged resolution.
Privilege.
HRES 537 has been filed because I believe that the President of the United States has committed an impeachable act.
Now, what was that impeachable act, you ask? I think we know this already because he's in line with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. These two mental giants think that they have to be consulted every time the commander-in-chief wants to perform an operation.
So just a program note. So a quick aside, Chris, for the Patriots to understand. Jasmine Croquet, our favorite other congresswoman, and Ocasio-Cortez constantly complain that they don't have intelligence, and I think it's true. I think that it's true. So just a public note, a public interest announcement. Miss Ocasio-Cortez and Jasmine Crockett complain they have no intelligence, and Can we endorse that as a show? Can we say, yeah, that's true? I think it's true.
I believe you're right. And we don't even have to say it. All we have to do is let them talk.
Yeah. Anyway, so you heard it first here. The Ed Henry Wake Up Patriots is endorsing the idea that, yes, they have no intelligence, that we are endorsing their claim. Right, Chris? They've said it. We're saying it's correct.
That's right. Hey, again, we have to abide by what they say because as they're telling us, they're always right.
That's what they said, and they're right, and we're right.
Yeah. They're always right.
So they're always right.
Yes. So, and you mentioned Jasmine Crockett. So maybe Al Green is a little less entertaining than Yasmine Croquet. You want to hear what she did in Congress on the floor?
Yeah, let's talk about her a bit because she dropped out of something. We'll talk about that too.
That's right. So let's hear her go off. And by the way, AOC came to the rescue. These two, I don't know how certain people get elected. I'm submitting that Democrat voters, the average Democrat voters, have no idea what's going on and no idea who they're voting for, and probably haven't heard a peep out of any of these people. They just voted for them because they have a D at the end of their name.
Oh, you just voted to do it.
Y'all did it first, so you don't want to talk about it.
Order. I'm trying to get clarification.
Look at, calm down.
No, because this is what y'all do. So I'm trying to get
Miss
clarification.
Crockett, you're not recognized. Miss
I can't hear
Crockett.
you with your yelling.
Don't want
Calm down.
Even Ratskin's annoyed. He's like, what? Can you shut her up? She's making me look bad.
Let me be the one that makes us look bad, not her. By the way, she before we go forward, she dropped out. She had put her name forward to become the senior Democrat on the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee, which I've testified before. That's something that I actually had a letter regarding in a recent editorial, which we're going to talk about here in a few minutes, where I testified before Chris Shays when he was chair of that committee back in 2005, five. Anyway, so my point being is that she put her name forward. Do you know what happened, Chris?
Oh, yeah. What happened on the surface was she withdrew her name. My guess
She
is
withdrew her name.
So
But why? Why did she withdraw? Because apparently only 6 of the 76 Democrats who had say were going to vote for her. Just saying. So
that's part of it. And I'm pretty sure somebody who is trying to lead from behind or behind the scenes took her aside and said, you know what? You can rant all you want in Congress, but we cannot have you in a leadership position. Just no, not going to happen. And that's it. Sat her down and said, this is it. It's your role. Just shut up and do what you have to do. We're not giving you a leadership position because you just can't handle it.
I don't know. I think she ought to take Nancy Pelosi's place. I really do. I strongly feel it.
Should be more entertaining, I'll say. Now, before we get to our guest, there was something big going on with you too. So let's get into that.
Oh, let's cover this real quick. Yeah. So first off, I want to announce that a guy named Darren's Fivehouse, I'm going to invite him on the show because he's upset with me. Now, I'm going to be very clear on this because I'm an elected official and nothing I'm going to talk about today relates to my official duties or activities. Everything I'm going to talk about is what Mr. Fivehouse brought up regarding past issues relating to 9/11. So just for everybody to understand, he's welcome to criticize me every day, all the time. I don't care. He can go through and decide what he wants to go through. Mr. Fivehouse, don't care. We can talk. We talk about that locally, but when you open up the door to 9/11, that's kind of like issues which are still being reviewed by, dare I say, members of Congress. So we'll go through some of that today because he said some things which were like lies. They are. They're flat out things that he said which were not true. So right. And by the way, this is like going back. What he did is, Chris, was like going back and looking at old episodes of The Apprentice and saying, "Oh, President Trump, I'm upset with you, Mr. Trump." Same thing here. It's like, I'm upset with you, Commissioner, because of what you did 20 years ago. It's like, yeah, it didn't work that way. So he can be upset about my current conduct. What I do as a member of the commission. Absolutely. No doubt that he's every First Amendment right to do that. But I too am a citizen who has the right to defend whatever happened in the past that has nothing to do with what I currently do. So just for that caveat. So without further ado, he sent me a cease and desist letter. Let's read some of it, shall we?
Yes.
This is all transpiring for those who want to go to my Facebook. There's an article there. It says everything but the facts, Mr. Fivehouse and a White Rabbit. It says kind of what it is. So again, I'm only addressing what he said regarding the 9/11 stuff and the past. So, and I'm going to stick to that because that's what he's upset about. Believe it or not, he's upset about that. So he says that he's upset that I said he lied and an outright lying to the public, which he did, and I'll cite why. He speaks for me as if he's me in his editorial. My letter is response to his letter. I'm not even going to read his because you can go track it down. It's out there.
Yeah, track it down. Yeah,
Albemarle Observer. It's there. And so he basically, he basically says that, and he does say this, that I deceived people regarding my testimony regarding 9/11. It's like, really? Oh, that's interesting. Again, this is like way before I became a county commissioner. So what I did in my article, you can go check it out. I actually use citations. I actually use specific documents. He does not in his at all. Just saying, it's like, okay, you have all these opinions and you make these assertions and allegations and they're lies. So I set the record straight. So you can go through, And he basically ignored all the open source information. So at minimum, it's a lie of omission. Just saying.
Yeah, your best line in here, Tony, is even Wikipedia is more accurate than Mr. Fivehouse.
I know. It's like, so let's hit that real quick because that's a key one. He says that Able Danger was a proof of concept. What? No, it was an operation. So that's a lie. There's no other way. It's like, it's a lie. And by the way, Mr. Whitehouse, let me restate. You can come on the show. I'm going to send you a note. He's got my email.
Yeah, well,
You can come on the show and kind of like, yeah, where am I lying by pointing out that, or where am I falsely asserting that your statement is incorrect by the fact I'm citing Wikipedia and then my own sources saying, yeah, it's an operation. And I won't go through it today to relitigate everything. I know, Red Ginger. Yeah, I cite things. I know. It's a novel idea of actually putting citations in a letter.
Imagine sourcing things and bringing up the fact.
I know. Imagine sourcing things. So yes. He didn't. By the way, yeah. Again,
you make a horrible CNN reporter.
Look at his. There's no sourcing, but he has all these. Really, maybe I should sue him for defamation, Chris. Do you think so? Because he actually does.
He's accusing you of such, by the way.
I know. Anyway, but no, I'm not, because I want people to see this. This is how the left operates. So let's continue. Right. A couple of the quick points. We won't belabor this. So let's see what's next. Oh, here, this is a good one. He says now this is him, not me. Bullet number 2 of his letter to me from the 23rd of June. Paragraph 2, that I participated, that is him, in a cover-up of the Able Danger investigation during my tenure. He says this. He said this in his note.
I couldn't believe that when I read it.
So it's like, oh, okay, nobody accused you of that,
right? Well,
so let me be clear, because this is important. What I said was, this is a specific quote. So this is what what I'm going to read is what he's upset about. I am curious if Mr. then Colonel Fivehouse, oh, by the way, he's an retired Air Force Colonel Jag.
Gotcha.
I am curious if Mr. then Colonel Fivehouse participated while on active duty in the Air Force in the alleged cover-up of the Able Danger investigation. That's a question. Is that not a question?
No, yes.
I'm curious.
Put it, when he quoted you, by the way, he took out alleged. You see. Yeah. He said that I participated in a quote cover up of the Able Danger investigation.
So unquote. It's like, right. Just saying, it's like, okay. It's like, you know what they call that in law enforcement? Spontaneous utterance.
That's right. It's sort of the AOC syndrome, if you will.
Yeah. It's like, okay, I didn't say that, but okay. And then he's upset with me because I have the opinion about his obsession with me. Again, let's be clear on what's going on. He's not talking about current conduct. He's talking about things that go back 20, 25 years. Just saying. So because of this obsession, I think it's an obsession. I call it an unhealthy emotional obsession in my note. And let me read what I said, because you can judge for yourself. Let's see. Mr. Fivehouse is showing symptoms like those of certain Minnesota politicians and those who acted with extreme disregard to the truth that eventually resort to violence as a form of political speech. That's it. That's an opinion. That's like he's showing symptoms. Did I say he's violent? No, I did not. I said he's showing symptoms. So there you go. And he's upset about that too, because he's saying that and I say this, I didn't say you, I said you exhibited unhealthy, that you said symptoms,
right?
Symptoms. So there you go. He's upset, and he's implying that somehow I am alleging that he conducted criminal conduct. Yeah. It's on there. It's on there. You have to go down, Loves Christ. You got to go down a little bit. It's there.
Right. Read the whole thing right there. Yes.
So yeah. So no, everything I said was based on fact, based on citation, or based on observable fact that these are the things going on. So, Mr. Fivehouse, you're welcome to come on and talk about how you think that my citing specific examples of where you put things in, you basically allege things against me, how my putting things in and calling that you saying that you lied is somehow improper, since you clearly did not check sources or use the truth. Chris, if you don't use the truth generally that's a lie, right? If you're using the opposite of truth, that's a lie, right?
Well, unless you're omitting the truth, then it's just, hey, I forgot or I cannot recall. There we go.
Yeah.
That's what they generally say.
And I never once said he participated. I said I'm curious, based on the time he served, if he participated. I asked that question.
Exactly.
I asked that question, so I don't know if I should take that as an answer or not. I don't know.
Well,
anyway,
we're going to talk more about this as it develops too, I suppose. So
anyway, Mr. Fivehouse, Mike is yours. Come on next week. We can talk about this if you want.
Yep.
I think no. I think let's see that would the Patriots like to have Mr. Fivehouse come on and talk about this? Let's ask.
Yeah, we'll check it out. I think that's a good question. I wouldn't mind seeing that. We'll facilitate this, and
we can have a debate about my past, because that's what it's all about. It's not about current stuff. I'm not even talking about current stuff, but we could talk about this. Yes, the people want yes. Oh, we'd love to have him on, of course.
So let's do it. If he accepts, we're going to do that. We'll make sure everything's moved around.
I'll send him a link to this too. I'll send him a link to this too, so we can watch what was said. So
on the international front, Tony, as you know, we talked about this a little while ago. The Chinese Communist Party apparently was plotting, according to the FBI and Kash Patel, plotting to create fake driver's licenses and thereby fake mail-in ballots to skew the 2020 election.
Shocking.
And we have a guest who could talk about the CCP's machinations right now. Somebody who defected from China and blew the whistle on them right and left, especially from COVID moving on forward. The great and very cool Dr. Li Ming Yan.
Welcome. Good morning. Good morning, Doctor.
Patriots.
Morning, Chris, and morning, Tony. Thank you for having me.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming on.
So I've seen your interviews, and there's no doubt in my mind, and I've said this before, Doctor, that China, the CCP, is essentially at a state of war against the United States. They've said in their military doctrine they plan to dominate the Pacific Rim. As a matter of fact, a guy you may have heard of, General Mark Milley, told me to my face I was on the transition team in 2016 to 2017 for the Trump White House, and I met with Mark Milley, and Dr. Mark Milley said the Chinese intend to dominate and challenge us militarily. So that's no secret. People even in the Biden administration knew about that. And secondly, I've said from day one, COVID was a lab leak, and it was done in such a way to create the conditions for election fraud. I don't know if they understood how they could take advantage of it, but I think it was done to benefit big pharma and to undermine society. And of course, now we're talking about the actual 2020 election. So, Doctor, I'd like to have you talk a little bit about your experiences. Introduce yourself to the audience, because they're already talking and they love you.
Yes,
but
they're looking forward to this.
Just tell us about how you got what made you defect and what you think is most important for us to focus on now. So go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So first, I don't want to take too much time, but I just want to introduce myself. I'm Dr. Li Ming Yan. I obtained MD and PhD degree from 2 top Chinese medical universities. And before I escaped to the United States, I was a postdoc fellow researcher in the University of Hong Kong School of Public Health, and that is WHO H5 reference lab, and also it is China State Emerging Infectious Disease Lab. So that is actually ranking number one coronavirus lab by Elsevier in 2019. And I worked with a bunch of top coronavirus and flu and emerging infectious disease experts in that lab. So at the end of 2019, the last day, I was assigned secretly by my supervisor, Dr. Liu Peng, WHO expert, conduct the confidential mission, which is to use my own network from mainland China, involve military and also the hospitals, labs, to understand what happened in Wuhan, because at that time, China government cover up all the things, even not release it to
well documented, absolutely.
So so the things happened, and then from that time, quickly, within half a month, I accumulated a lot of first-hand information from my friends working in China CDC Director George Fugao's lab, to people who can handle the coronavirus from Wuhan, And from the local doctors, altogether, I can tell you that it is not the simple epidemic. It is released intentionally because there was no any accident in Wuhan. And all lab accident, no. And also China knows this virus, knows the sequence, no human-to-human transmission, no more people get sick, but they have no control. So altogether, they don't mind this virus circulating in Wuhan and cause people's deaths. And also they are cheating the world. And WHO is helping them. So altogether, this is military background and novel bioweapon program in their unrestricted warfare.
Right. So yeah, let's hit that a little bit. And so China's smart enough to use our money to do it. Peter Daszak and the Global Eco Health Alliance helped fund this, right, Doctor? That we actually helped fund this.
Not only that, I mean, China, whatever China is doing in unrestricted warfare, one thing you need to know, they need your technology. And they want to finally blame Americans. So that is why it's unrestricted warfare. So of course they need to compromise Americans, try their best to bring your money to their pockets. But it doesn't mean you funded them on behalf of American government and China is just a scapegoat. No, not like that. Chinese Communist Party always treat America as a top enemy, want to destroy you, want to take over America. And they cheat you, get your money, use the useful idiots, and also compromise even espionage from US. They take advantage of you.
The old Soviet playbook, by the way, as well.
So two things on that. First, I believe fentanyl is a weapon of mass destruction. It's meant to weaken the very foundations of society. And you said that they're trying to buy politicians. I think, by the way, Doctor, I think they got Hunter Biden with a few hookers, which I think is a pretty good, thing. Smart.
Well, they got Swalwell with one.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Hey, the honeypot's effective. Let's talk about this. The honeypot is incredibly effective, and we're not just talking about politicians. We could talk about scientists who are probably many of them probably haven't really dated that much, so they're not really wise to such things, or maybe people who are involved, journalists, people who are involved maybe in other technological fields. This is important. The Chinese Communist Party has been known to bring people in here through the southern border or other means, illegally and legally, to infiltrate us, but kind of pose as real or pose as visitors, American citizens, or somebody who's or maybe somebody legitimate, and kind of sneak information that way.
Yeah.
Right.
So the thing is, Chinese Communist Party never give up any possible way to undermine America. So you say legitimate way. For example, New York City's mayor's, the governor's helper, Sun Wen, and she was arrested last year because she was a Chinese born American and moved to the U.S. when she was very young, become the governor's best helper. But then actually she's an espionage for China. So also this kind of people is CCP is focusing. People grow up in U.S. no matter what. They are Chinese American or American, so they can be finally brainwashed and also recruited. Also, there are people working in your media, government institute.
Oh yeah,
they can buy them, they can influence them, they can find the communist sympathizers,
no
and also they need military operators and agents to conduct specific organized work. Work means missions. So that's why they need your open border. And according to our resources, according to our sources in the CCP Central Military Commission, from at least 2022 to now, there are over 100,000 Chinese military trained agents are sent to the United States. Among them, there are the special forces, there are the military special intelligence agents, and there are people who do the dirty job. For example, some group may focus on how to intercept your communication. Some ones are the cyber hackers. Some ones are damage your infrastructure. Some people every day maybe drive Uber or truck everywhere to collect your information.
Oh, and Chinese restaurants. Using Chinese restaurants.
So
Great.
money laundering.
Oh, yeah, legitimate storefronts. If
Oh,
you
yeah.
will.
No, I know.
Yes,
so,
definitely.
I'd like to have you come back and talk more about that. We want to get to the election stuff because that's the headline. But suffice it to say, the Chinese have invested in undermining Western society, especially the United States, going back before you and I were born, right? I mean, this is a long-term goal by the CCP to undermine Western civilization, going back to the probably the 60s, if not before that, right? I mean, this is a long-term objective.
China has been looking for the people like Kissinger. I mean, Kissinger helped China, and so China think people like Kissinger would be the great candidate. So there are a lot of such candidates from the United States. And if China later realize that you are not compromised or you are not on their side, they will try their best to isolate you, to attack you, to ruin your reputation. And then finally, only people in their campaign can be cultivated or gain some kind of big position with influence.
Well, I have a question on that. So is it true then that the CCP has promised a lifetime of supply of Mao jackets and suits to both Hillary Clinton and to Kamala Harris? Is that how they got them to work for the CCP? No, it's a joke. I'm just joking.
Is that how Jen got her star, her red star for her pink cap?
Yeah, I think Kamala, I think the pantsuit thing is a giveaway for both of them.
Actually, I mean, I can tell you, Chinese Communist Party never care any of them. They just use them. And if one day they feel these candidates are not useful, they will throw them under the bus without hesitation. And so it's like Peter Daszak. And even Fauci, China now claim that Fauci and Peter Daszak are the principal criminal in COVID-19, and China is innocent. So this is they use them out and then they throw them.
Right. So the last 10 minutes, I want to cover what's come up recently. So speaking of useful idiots, let's talk about Christopher Wray, former director of the FBI. So our friend John Solomon has reported accurately, I believe, that Kash Patel and others have said, oh, yeah, FBI was told to ignore China's role in creating false driver's license, doing things to influence voting. So we were told, Doctor, none of this happened. Ooh, there's nothing to see here. But it turns out what you're saying is completely correct, that there was compromise by the CCP. And for people to understand how this is important, the CCP has massive ability to manufacture documents. They have huge infrastructure. So when they say driver's license, like they could manufacture tens of thousands rapidly to match the false voters. Is that accurate, Doctor? That they could do this easily?
Of course, it's possible. I mean, I would say I don't know whether they have done it or not, because they can do anything they want to destroy America as long as they have this kind of information. For example, TikTok provides them information, and also they have the route to send them to US, and they have people receive it here. For example, those people come from the borders, they can receive it. Or there are other kind of united front work campaign, those open front espionages in the US can do that. So I'm not surprised at all. And I would say that there are various ways China could use to interfere your election. And I believe that is what they have been done for years, not only in one election, but always, because they don't mind, as I said, they don't mind who becomes the president. They believe whoever wins, they could interfere them through their administration, through the espionage in your government. And also what they need is to create chaos and division, but to let you fight against each other.
Right. So I think that's where, obviously, even now, by the fact we're seeing the chaos created, even if China gets blamed, they've still had an effect because, to your point, Doctor, they're getting chaos. They're getting chaos out of the political system. So their objective, they win no matter what. They win by having affected the vote in the favor of a Democrat, and in this case, Joe Biden. By the way, Doctor, did they give Joe Biden a lifetime supply of men's undergarments as part of the bribery? I think that's pretty important to know. I think that's a big incentive. But anyway, I digress. My point is that they were able to help Biden, and now after the fact, we're now seeing the effect again because, again, they're creating chaos in our system because it undermines American confidence in the FBI and other organizations, right? Am I correct on that?
So I would say that always there are compromised people in FBI and other agencies, and also there are bureaucratical things. So we need to know what exactly happened to this kind of information or intelligence. And on the other hand, we should, as you said, why always China can do it behind these people, that person, or some campaign, and you only focusing on the front line. You don't catch China accountable. So I believe that is what Trump administration is working on. That is to remove all the covers for CCP and directly come to Chairman Xi Jinping. And that's why President Trump always said, I talked to Xi Jinping, and for example, the deal is subjected to Xi Jinping, and we need Xi Jinping help us to open up China. You need to focus on CCP because they can find enough people between you and the CCP to protect them like Great Wall.
Yeah, well, I think that's the issue. That this is a hybrid war, a war of philosophies. One of the things I want to talk about a little bit regarding that, and you said, that they tend to want to compromise. There he is. There's President Xi on one of his better days. I think he looks pretty good. And he's wearing the red, the classic red, by the way. I think that's really cool. Yeah. So, but one of the things that I want to touch on, Doctor, is that while the CCP is out to get us, no doubt, I think I'm being pretty direct on that. They have their own internal problems. And my question to you is President Xi trying to use foreign influence, foreign focus? Like it's been reported that 2 of the big Chinese CCP cargo airplanes flew into Tehran days before we dropped the big bombs on them. There's rumor maybe that the Chinese maybe helped remove some of the nuclear material. Maybe, we don't know. But my point being is President Xi trying to focus on foreign things, maybe to get the Chinese people's attention off their internal problems, such as they're having huge economic problems. So can you talk to us a little bit about how Xi may be using foreign distractions to try to hide his own internal problems? Is that an issue?
Oh, yes, of course. First, he always tried to get Taiwan. And so he want to make it look like peaceful reunification, as well as he could use all this infiltrated power in Taiwan to subvert the current government, make it become part of China. He will gain huge credibility, and that could help him to solve a lot of problems inside China. And also Iran, yes, China helped Iran's nuclear weapons and help Iran's against the sanction because they treat Iran as their proxy in Middle East, as well as Hamas, Houthis, and Hezbollah. All of them can create chaos to damage the West countries, especially the United States. So China want to use Iran, but now since Iran is in trouble, so China want to drag the U.S. military into the trap, into the swamp in Iran. And I'm happy to say President Trump said, no, just 12-day war, and we won't get involved too much. We will focus on Indo-Pacific area. And yes, and also they will try to create problems inside the United States using their agents, military operators, some from the border, some are already inside the U.S. So all the things they could do is they will try their best to leverage the opportunities to destroy your life.
It should be noted that Iran is also a member of the BRICS alliance, which is co-founded by the Chinese. And this is an alliance that's actively working to supplant the U.S. dollar. So this destroy America mentality, destroy the West mentality is not only ingrained in the radical Muslim leadership of some of these nations and the terrorist organizations, but also historically very powerful communist nations, because they're trying to take over the world with their ways of life and destroy our own. The idea is now, instead of fighting us on the front, because we saw what we could do, what this military could do to a place like Iran if need be. But what's really happening is our nation, the left in our country has destroyed the economy from within in many ways. Now, China, Iran, remember, and the rest of the BRICS alliance, a lot of them who have been adversarial to us, are working very hard to supplant the dollar and defeat us economically, which is another thing that we haven't really been keeping our eye on technically when it comes to most of our politicians. Your thoughts, Dr. Yan? Dr. Yan?
Oh yeah, of course, because actually, though Iran is not communist country, but China has been delivering all of these Chinese equipments, weapons, and experience, like for example, digital surveillance, and also the propaganda, this kind of soft skills to Iran. Because according to Xi Jinping, this is mankind share common future, right? It's all his ideology to make everyone finally being shaped as communist China, and also using the advanced digital technology and the propaganda, unrestricted war to control the world. So China has been using Iran for a long while, and now since Iran is the nuclear weapons are destroyed, and also a lot of the targets are already eliminated. So Xi Jinping is very nervous, trying to rebuild Iran's power against the US and Israel. For example, today, Iran's Minister of Defense is in China, joining the Shanghai Cooperative Organization's meeting. And of course, Xi Jinping and his office will try their best to rebuild this kind of espionage and also a secret network with Iran against US.
Yeah. Well, this is all very important for our audience, the Patriots, to understand. And we obviously will, when I work for Newsmax, we talk about this all the time on Newsmax about the specific, I think, existential threat the Chinese leadership offer. Now, let me ask you something. It's going to be a bit more of a nuanced question. I think a lot of the Chinese people, because of some of the latter philosophies, no doubt, the one China policy hurt the fabric of China. I think there's consequences that still have yet to be understood, because you, being a woman, are a commodity, because they during a certain period of time essentially had only males being born, which was horrible. The one China policy, I think, did huge damage. Yeah. Huge damage, because everybody wanted males, and that resulted in the fratricide of girls, which is horrible. This is way underreported, but I think it's something people have to understand, that the Chinese people, I think for the most part, really do want to have more Western lifestyles. They want to have opportunity. They want to engage in commerce. They want to basically be free of a lot of the restrictions. Am I stating that correctly? The Chinese people aren't really completely on board with what Xi wants to do. Is that accurate?
No, Chinese people, I mean, the sad fact is, majority of Chinese people, they're not allowed to receive the education and knowledge as what Americans have. Yes, they may be very good at STEM something, but do you know that in China, from my generation, born in 1980s, we don't have the logics education in our primary school, middle school, unless you become a special student in the university study this subject. If not, you don't have this kind of training. All the training from our childhood is to let you listen to your teacher, listen to your family, and finally listen to the party. So the thing is, people have their motive. This is people's nature to pursue the freedom. But most of Chinese people, if they don't have time to receive education, like for example, I live in a big city, I have more chance to know that. But people like in a remote place, they have no this kind of idea what real freedom is. And that's why CCP could easily manipulate them. And then, of course, they made the firewall, and they make all these fabricated history, fabricated stories inside China, and the misinformation through our CCTV to against America, all like that, to discredit America. So the thing is, people have this kind of motive, but it's not released, and it takes time. Even in the future, we could finally removed the CCP. I need to tell you, it still takes time for Chinese people to learn what is this kind of universal value. And that's why I and my friend, Mr. Luda, we work hard since several years ago on YouTube or other routes to deliver Americans universal values, Americans real like the history story, what we learn from America to Chinese audience, because we need to anti-CCP's brainwashing project.
Good. So we got to go, but one of the things I want to ask before we go, and we want to have you back because
we're going to have
everybody
you back.
loves what we're talking about. I want to talk more about the CCP versus Russia, some of the issues relating to the people and how they're suppressed, the social credit score system. Man, oh man, I want to talk about that because I think a lot of people recognize how they want to bring that here. So we'll have you back. One last question.
And the Chinese police force,
the Chinese police force here. We don't talk. Well, thank you, Chris, because that's what I was going to ask. So, Doctor, you're very brave. I'm getting texts from my personal friends and the Patriots. All appreciate you. We love what you're here to help us understand. Are you concerned about your personal safety? Because, as Chris said, there's CCP police here that could do you harm. So, I hope you take protection. You protect yourself.
Thank you for concerning. I have been under the continuous this kind of hunting from Chinese government, and not only Chinese police involved, also military operators, and they try to assassinate me or kidnap me back to China, and that's what they have been done again and again. Also, they sue me in federal court in Pennsylvania, claiming that what I'm talking about, the COVID-19 China origin, hurt their emotion, hurt their feelings. So that is a billionaire and the #1 CCP's agents in the U.S. Sue me. So now he's back to China because he falsified the subpoena and he committed the felony, federal felony. So when I revealed that to the court and he ran back to China, so all of these things happened. So the thing is, we have no other choice because either we die in Hong Kong or China under their ruling, like some kind of unknown animal or something, even not a number, or we need to fight briefly, loudly to the world, try to change whatever we can do, try to change the situation and prevent them. And I believe that what I have been done in the past 5 years work. Now you see Trump administration puts a statement on White House website that COVID-19 virus come from CCP's lab and it is military civil fusion products. And now also FBI reopens the investigation under Dan Bongino to investigate COVID-19 origins thoroughly. So all of these things shows that as long as we fight bravely, loudly, and smartly, our enemy cannot hide. So that's what I want to tell people.
Well, thank you we appreciate your bravery. We appreciate your fortitude, because this can't be easy. I was a whistleblower back in the early 2000s. That was tough. So, when people hate you, that hate tends to go on for decades, right, Chris? Like we talked about today, some people are still upset 20 years later.
Hey,
so
not only do people hate me, there's actually a television show called Everybody Hates Chris. So it gets even worse there. By the way, you can catch Dr. Yan, excuse me. You can catch Dr. Li Mingyan on her show, The Voice of Dr. Yin, on AmericaOutloud.news. Of course, don't forget that. And so check that out.
Well, good. Well, Doctor, we want to have you back. Thank you. God bless you. We appreciate your bravery, courage, and wisdom, and we'll have you back. So, and right, Chris, we'll do that.
Yes, we will. We're definitely going to have you back. We'll get you on. And by the way, tomorrow, Trixie, Sean, George, and the crew are going to have get this. Alexandra Brower of Moms for Liberty. So
they're not going to have AOC on, are they? I was hoping they're going to have AOC on with them. That would be.
I was hoping for Alexandra from Josie and the Pussycats. So, I mean the cartoon version. She's awesome.
Chris, no, I think you ought to try to help get AOC on with Trixie. I think it'd be a good interview, don't you?
I want to get that 8-year-old girl that the liberals were like really angry with and gave death threats to for doing impressions of AOC on TikTok.
Oh yeah. She was beautiful, that little girl.
Yeah, the
So
left
good.
here is
All right,
pretty
well, we got to
nasty
go.
too, by the way.
Yeah, we got to go. And we're over time. But thank you all, Patriots. We love you all. We'll see you Monday, right?
We'll
Coming
be
up.
there. Yep, we're going to be there Monday. Yep.
See you then.